Letter 26 by Charles Lamb. Tuesday, June 13th, 1797. I stared with wild wonderment to see thy well-known hand again. It revived many a pleasing recollection of an epistolary intercourse, of late strangely suspended, once the pride of my life. Before I even opened thy letter, I figured to myself a sort of complacency which my little hoard at home would feel at receiving the newcomer into the little drawer where I keep my treasures of this kind. You have done well in writing to me. The little room, was it not a little one? At the salutation was already in the way of becoming a fading idea. It had begun to be classed in my memory with those wanderings with a fair-haired maid, in the recollection of which I feel I have no property. You press me, very kindly do you press me, to come to Stowey. Obstacles, strong as death, prevent me at present. Maybe I shall be able to come before the year is out. Believe me, I will come as soon as I can, but I dread naming a probable time. It depends on 50 things, besides the expense, which is not nothing. Lloyd wants me to come and see him. But besides that you have a prior claim on me, I should not feel myself so much at home with him, till he gets a house of his own. As to Richardson, caprice may grant what caprice only refused, and it is no more hardship, rightly considered, to be dependent on him for pleasure, than to lie at the mercy of the rain and sunshine for the enjoyment of a holiday. In either case, we are not to look for a suspension of the laws of nature. Grill will be grill. V.D. Spencer. I could not but smile at the compromise you make with me for printing Lloyd's poems first. But there are in nature, I fear, too many tendencies to envy and jealousy not to justify you in your apology. Yet, if anyone is welcome to preeminence from me, it is Lloyd, for he would be the last to desire it. So pray, let his name uniformly precede mine, for it would be treating me like a child to suppose it could give me pain. Yet, alas, I am not insusceptible of the bad passions. Thank God, I have the ingenuousness to be ashamed of them. I am dearly fond of Charles Lloyd. He is all goodness, and I have too much of the world in my composition to feel myself thoroughly deserving of his friendship. Lloyd tells me that Sheridan put you upon writing your tragedy. I hope you are only Coleridgeizing when you talk of finishing it in a few days. Shakespeare was a more modest man, but you best know your own power. Of my last poem you speak slightingly. Surely the longer stanzas were pretty tolerable. At least there was one good line in it. Thick-shaded trees, with dark green leaf rich clad. To adopt your own expression, I call this a rich line, a fine full line, and some others I thought even beautiful. Believe me, my little gentleman will feel some repugnance at riding behind in the basket, though I confess, in pretty good company. Your picture of idiocy, with the sugarloaf head, is exquisite, but are you not too severe upon our more favored brethren in fatuity? Lloyd tells me how ill your wife and child have been. I rejoice that they are better. My kindest remembrances and those of my sister. I send you a trifling letter, but you have only to think that I have been skimming the superficies of my mind and found it only froth. Now, do write again. You cannot believe how I long and love always to hear about you. Yours, most affectionately. Monday night. Little drawer where I keep. Lamb soon lost the habit of keeping any letters except Manning's. Wanderings with a fair-haired maid. Lamb's own line, see sonnet quoted above. Lamb's visit to Stowey was made in July, as we shall see. Grill will be grill. See the Fairy Queen, Book Roman 2, Canto 12, stanzas 86 and 87. Let grill be grill is the right text. Lloyd had joined the poetical partnership, and his poems were to precede Lamb's in the 1797 volume. Lloyd's connections, Coleridge had written to Cottle, will take off a great many copies, more than 100. Coleridge's tragedy was Osorio, of which we hear first in March 1797, when Coleridge tells Cottle that Sheridan has asked him to write a play for Drury Lane. It was finished in October and rejected. In 1813, much altered, it was performed under its new title, Remorse, and published in book form. Lamb wrote the prologue. The last poem of which Lamb speaks was The Vision of Repentance. The good line was altered to wide branching trees with dark green leaf rich clad. When the poem appeared in the appendix, the basket, as Lamb calls it, of the 1797 volume. Your picture of idiocy. Compare S.T. Coleridge to Thomas Poole, dated Greta Hall, Oct. 5, 1801, Thomas Poole and his friends. We passed a poor idiot boy who exactly answered my description. He stood in the sun, rocking his sugarloaf head, and staring at a bough from morn to sunset, seesawed his voice in inarticulate noises. See this passage, much altered, in Remorse, Roman 2, I 186-191. The lines do not occur in Osorio, Yet they, or something like them, must have been copied out by Coleridge for Lamb in June, 1797.